Hi, everybody. This is Reverend Jodi Suson with Suson Essentials in the podcast Self-Care, right? So you got to take care of yourself, which means you're taking care of yourselves so you can live to be 120 like I will. So today, I'm very excited because I have Sam Morris here, who is also an ordained minister. Okay. He's a faith-based healing. And we collaborate together to bring you the goodness that you all deserve. Before I bring on Sam and tell you a little bit about him, I want to, at the beginning of each show, I just like to make sure that I acknowledge my brain health advisors. And so first is Dr. Patrick Porter. He's the CEO of Brain Tap. And people, here we go. If you are not retraining your brain, you need to reach out to me and I can help you get a Brain Tap and the Brain Tap app and, elevate the goodness in your life. Okay. So it's brain wave entrainment is what it's called. Now, what I do is I pair this with Freeman Formula's Conscious Flow and Upgrade. And honestly, I thought I could do with just one, but the honest truth is I cannot. I have to have both. So it increases blood flow to the prefrontal cortex. Let me see if I can get that here. Prefrontal cortex of the brain. That's for Upgrade. And I also believe that's also for Conscious Flow, but also this is the God job molecule. That's why Conscious Flow. And you just put a little bit, I used to date somebody who did shots, and I reframed taking shots. I take shots of the God molecule. So, So when you pair that with the frequencies from the Brain Tap and the NLP and the lights, honestly, this is the year of the fire horse. I'm just going to say, and you're going to ride that pony and you're going to be on fire. Okay. So with that, because I am reframing mental health for humanity. So it's really important for me to share with you all the cool tools. Now, the cool tool that we're going to talk about today is the vital test. And why is it important and why is it so cool? Well, because we're going to show you how we get to the root cause of anybody's condition, okay? And tell you the emotion that's driving the dysfunction. Boom, chakalaka, yes. So, and my friend, mentor, and colleague, right, is Sam Morris. He is the owner and primary practitioner of Hands of Hope Wellness Center in Fayetteville, Tennessee, certified electrodermal stress analysis practitioner, as am I, but honestly, he's so much better at it that I send all my work to him. So he's also a licensed MACE energy method practitioner. And when we are done going through the vital and when we're done going through the supplements, we're probably, if there's extra time, and this is going to be a longer podcast, so if you don't have time to watch the whole thing, you can always catch the replay, but we're also going to touch on the MACE energy method, which we've done before, but we just kind of want to highlight that because what he does is really remarkable. And then he's also a licensed advanced biostructural correction practitioner. That's a game changer. We can talk about that on another show. And like me, he is certified in light therapy and an ordained pastor. So, did you know that you can just calm your brain like that? Boom, chakalaka. Okay, so let me bring on Sam. Hi.
Hey, Jodi.
So it is so good to have you here. And I do have the sample sheet so we can show people what you're referring to, like on the testing. So why don't you start by sharing with people about the vital test, or more importantly, actually, why you got into holistic health first, and then we'll go into the vital test.
Okay, interesting about getting into holistic health. I was in the military, and everything is taken care of with Motrin and attitude. Things like chiropractors are quacks, that's just the way it is. And in 2000, I injured myself on a trampoline, and my company was going to send me to Vanderbilt to get my neck fused and all this stuff. And I thought, well, I'll try a chiropractor, a local guy here. And he started working on me and started fixing me. And every time I went, I learned something new from him. And the next thing you know, I'm doing things like getting a foot bath, a biomat, all these things you do. And you start doing everything in the world except changing the food you like.
Right.
So I did all that. And then finally, I was working for a clinic in Tennessee, a functional doc, and I was the supervisor of the clinic, and I fired, ran the clinic, did the training, vein therapy and all this. IVs, we primarily did ozone. And I really, really stepped up a notch when I learned that detox in and of itself can hurt you just as bad as help you.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that. We were already on the straight and narrow, so to speak. And so I started getting into, and I didn't put on here, I'm a licensed lymphatic therapist as well. And that was the first thing I did I went and got certified in that modality. And talk about a game changer, moving lymph so when people detox, they can also drain. And so we went from there. I learned a lot more. I became a EDSA practitioner, the Vital, in 2017. And I was trained by Jim Hoover, who created the Vital. And he's not with us.
Brilliant man. Yeah.
Oh, yes. And he started the Standard Enzyme Company, I think about 38 years ago, and introduced the Vital about 30 years ago. And then it's improved as it's gone. And what the Vital is, it's biofeedback. It's biofeedback. You've got a box that picks up whatever you set on it. Okay. It's got a little plate on the top, and I could take someone's hair and saliva.
Right.
There you go. And not much of it, and put it on the box, set it on that plate, and it interfaces with my laptop's software called the Vital. And the interesting thing about the Vital is that it's set up already to help you find root causes for disease, also what's going on right now, prioritizes, offers suggestions in homeopathy, vitamins and minerals, detoxes, herbals, flowers, rife energy, all these things. So, my test can be virtually tailored to anyone who wants to use it. Any docs out there that want to use me to find out what's really going on in somebody, not just want to rely on blood tests or whatever, give us a call. We'll get you going. Very accurate. Very easy to read. Hey, there's a report from it right there. Excellent.
Yeah. And so, and let me just, I want to bring out some terms that people are not familiar with, because I want to give them a wake-up call. I want you to talk about miasms. I want you to define what they are, right? Let's have the top 5 miasms. And then I want to explain how some of these miasms are related to mental health.
Okay, excellent. Okay. First of all, a miasm was discovered by Samuel Hahnemann. And this is the 18th century. And what he found is what he believed to be the root cause of every disease was a miasma. Now, we say miasm, but it was a miasma.
Well, that explains my pronunciation issue.
Right,
Go
right.
ahead. Yeah, I was pronouncing it wrong. So go ahead.
So no, it's okay. So there's several miasms, and what they come from is pretty much living that is dirty, hygienic problems. Okay, like for instance, one of the miasms we face today comes from tuberculosis. Now, I'm not going to say every person that's had tuberculosis lived filthily, but that's where it starts. You know, maybe your outhouse is too close to your kitchen. Maybe your drainage is not right. You're living in a way that you are just not hygienic. Okay. But then it goes into other things. Psora, the psora miasm is psoriasis that you see with people today, and it's a genetic predisposition that passes for several generations and then dies off. So someone got sick with psoriasis from a dirty living situation, from tuberculosis. There's also one that we would call the cancer miasm. It's again, there's a genetic predisposition that's more favorable for that person with the miasm to actually develop cancer. And what that miasm is like a mixture of all of them. It's crazy. We call it the carcinosis miasm, carcin, like carcinogen.
And
A
that's the
couple
one,
more.
right? And then there's also the psychosis one and syphilis, right?
That's where I'm going to get to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got excited.
I'm trying to dovetail here, so I'm just teasing.
Well, you know me already. I get excited about this, so just breathe through.
That's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay. The psychosis miasm comes from, believe it or not, gonorrhea.
Right.
So somebody in the family gets gonorrhea. This is a huge one. Okay. This is huge. The psychosis miasm, we can't necessarily say, oh, you're going to be psychotic. But what we can say is there's a predisposition to it. Mm-hmm. How strong depends on where you are in the generations, because a miasm gets stronger and stronger with each generation. And all of a sudden it just drops out. It's no longer there. Think about this, if you would, for a second. Think about America in the last couple centuries. Mm-hmm. Okay. We've been constantly at war and have people deployed overseas. Oh. Constantly.
Right. Right.
And I'm going to tell you, there's one thing that always gathers itself around soldiers and Marines and airmen: prostitutes.
Right.
I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not.
Oh, I know you're not being funny. You're a pastor. This is not that, we're not joking, right? And right. We need to be real about what these conditions were, what the outcomes were, and how it's impacting us today. Right?
Yes.
So take it away. Yeah.
So this thing is really killing us, and people don't even look for psychosis miasm. Its twin brother or sister, however you want to say it, is what we call the ADD ADHD miasm. Right. It also comes from gonorrhea. And those two, now you said syphilis. We have a miasm called syphilinum, and it comes from syphilis. But that psychosis and ADD, ADHD, they are so dangerous to people in their healing and affecting their root causes, because they make everything hyper. Everybody that has a miasm is hyper in some way or another. You may see it on skin, a bunch of nevi, like warts and moles and birthmarks, things like that. You may see it with saliva. You may see it with hair growth. And you may see it with attitude and emotion. And I'll be honest with you, I get clients that do have high levels of abnormal cells that need to be addressed. And of course, we hear abnormal cells and we all get a little bit frightened and all this. But I'm going to tell you right now, I look at dealing with the miasm before I start trying to get rid of abnormal cells.
And tell us why you're dealing with the miasm before dealing with the abnormal cell.
And by the way, I learned this from Jim Hover, and it makes all the sense in the world. So that's who I am with that. But because it's like, let's say your house is on fire, and I'm up here and I'm trying to spray it off with water, you know, on the front of the house. But in the back of the house, somebody's spraying gasoline and diesel fuel on it.
Right.
That's what the miasm does to conditions, is it makes everything hyper. And so a lot of the stuff that we see today can really come down to a miasm. It is so prevalent, mainly because of men being overseas and prostitution. That is not a healthy way to live.
So I want to share something so that nobody has to feel like, oh no, I don't want to know if I had that miasm because gonorrhea or something in my family. I'm just going to let you all know in on a secret, because everyone knows I'm very high energy, but I also was very, very sick. So a little bit about my story for some newcomers. I was over medicated and misdiagnosed for 2 decades and put on 50 drugs for a mental health condition I never had, which is why I'm reframing mental health for humanity. You know, I had a variety of things like, you know, parasites, miasms, okay, and food sensitivities. And so what we do is we test for all those things using the Vital, and along with 13,600 different biomarkers. And so what I want to tell you, I had a multitude of miasms. I didn't have just one. And so forgive my French, especially as a pastor, Sam, but my body was a shit show. So, so I really had to, you know, be diligent in using my tools to reverse everything that I had. And as you know, my mantra is reframing mental health for humanity and shifting them from poisonous pills to plants and prayers. And so why don't you, I mean, before we go on to the next thing, because I do want to talk a little bit about these other things that we test for, like parasites and things. But is there anything that anybody in the audience would like to ask a question? Because this is really, you know, a great time to ask Sam questions or ask me questions. This is supposed to be engaging. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to know what you want to know about this Vital test and how we serve people, because we're going to get into the solutions. And I want to tell you, there's nothing that we're talking about that we don't have a solution for. Would you agree?
Agreed.
Yeah. So no fears in this house. Yeah. So while we're waiting for questions to come through, would you like to talk about maybe some of the other things that we test for, food sensitivities, parasites? You know, you can pick. Go ahead if there's something else.
Well, you know, basically in my practice, I deal with basically 6 root causes. Okay. The very first one being emotions, which is what we're going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. The second being structure. Right. The third being digestion. Now, when I say digestion, I'm looking for enzymatic levels. I'm looking for dysbiosis of the colon or a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, leaky gut, and of course all the autoimmune that comes with that, metabolism such as methylation, things like that. So digestion. The next one is hydration, and that's mostly your pH. I won't dive into that, but that can be the root of everything.
Why is methylation important? you want to explain to our community why methylation is important?
It comes down to really one thing: getting your food. That's what it all boils down to. Is
It
getting
boils down to getting your food.
yes, getting your nutrition rather than just eating and it not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and especially those that have trouble methylating, we know that B vitamins have to be methylated. And think about that. I call the B vitamins brain vitamins. Okay, B for brain. And so many people, when they don't methylate, there's going to be brain issues. There's going to be hormonal issues, energetic issues, and just it just goes down the line. So methylation is very important.
So do you know what I take for in addition? I mean, this is kind of a going off the script here for a minute, not that we're really scripted, but that one of the things I take the Optimal Health Systems blood BFF, blood vessel flexibility formula, and then I also pair that with bee pollen, B. And I did it on accident because bees vibrate at the frequency of love. And so I wanted to have more love. So I just started eating more bee pollen and honey. And, and then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, it's got bees in it, B vitamins. So Yafa's asking, what is the cost of the test? And, you know, I can send you the cost. I mean, we, you know, right now, I'll just be honest. I like to do 2 tests. And so it's $500 for both tests, which is the test and the retest, because that way I know that you're committed to moving forward, doing the work and getting that retest in 6 weeks. Cause I've made the mistake of doing it the opposite way in the past. So, but it's $325 and I think 125, something like that. Give or take, but don't quote me. So that's anything you want to add to that?
No, I think it's important that we talk about follow-up, because one of the worst things you can ever do is start to feel well and then stop. Because you at the fundamental level, you're still healing. Like for instance, you know, let's say you've got heavy metals in your brain and there's brain fog there. Okay, so the heavy metals start moving and then you feel a little clearer than you did in the last 20 years. So I'm going to stop. No, we want to structurally and at the base get you well, not just feeling well.
Okay? Right.
Dude,
yeah. You have a moment in time where you're well. We want you to always be well, right?
Yep. To be well.
Yeah. Isn't bee pollen and bees that make love? Yeah. So there was something else that you had said. I want to go back to, because there's just so much good information. We talked about the genetic predisposition for TB, you know, carcinoma, the psychosis, SORA, and that the test has been out for over like 30 years. But one of the things that you talked about was detox. And I'm going to ask you to do a deeper dive on that. But before I do that, I want to share with people what happened to me, or for me, for my ascension, about detox. There's a lot of people who are involved, and I'm not against multi-level marketing, and I do play with some of it, but they were salespeople and not health practitioners. And they came to me and said, double up on this, double up on that. And I did, because I'm sick. I want to be well. And I'm like, you know, doing whatever anybody tells me to do. Right. And I'm not connected to goodness yet. I'm just going to tell you, right? This is like before the Christ consciousness entered the building. So anyway, I was in a traumatized state, right? I'm in a constant state of fight or flight. And when your body's in a traumatized state and not in rest and digest, whatever food that you bring to it and you're consuming in that state, the body will see it as a predator. And so you are going to then become sensitive. What is that noise? Oh, is that like something outside your window? No, that's weird. I heard a car going by. That's really good.
Yeah, a truck just went by.
Okay, good. At least it's either that or I'm having a fascination that I'm not aware of. So, so when the body is in a traumatized state and you're eating a food, let's say it's an apple or a banana, the body then sees that food as a predator. Now, the workaround for that is that you pray before you eat to get your body into rest and digest. And you don't just pray for yourself, you actually pray for the food too, because it's giving you sustenance and giving you its life. Now, why is this also so important besides the fact that you get food sensitivities? You'll feel addicted to that food, and then you'll keep eating that food over and over and over again, okay, and getting more inflammation. For me, how that showed up, I was having meltdowns, emotional meltdowns. I had hives, and I'm scratching so hard, and I don't know what to take because I won't take medications anymore, right? And I'm like, I can't take Benadryl, I can't take anything like that because I know that it's a poison, and I'm bleeding. Like my legs are bleeding all over the place because I'm scratching myself silly. So I would like for you to, and so then, and keep in mind, my body's also detoxing all the things that I ate that were bad, because I started off at 235 pounds and I'm releasing all this weight very, very quickly. My body's just doing what it's meant to do. I'm not doing a massive detox, but I am doubling up on all these supplements that are whole food supplements and following not a health practitioner, but a salesperson. And so what I want to tell you is that, that's not a good idea. Don't do what Jodi did. Okay. So it's going now to detox. I want you to share, if you would, how you feel a safe detox is. And if you want to include the part about the shower filter, feel free. If not, you can leave that to me later.
Okay. Well, detoxification that's the new buzzword in the last 10 years. Everybody had detox. And we are loaded with toxins. Mm-hmm. Every day when you walk outside, all this stuff they're spraying in the sky, all the aluminum and all this stuff going on. We're toxic from the 5G. Your Wi-Fi is toxic. Blue lights in your room are toxic. Groundwater in and of itself these days is different levels of toxicity.
Can we pause?
Mostly due to glyphosate.
Talk about the groundwater, because I have clients that are telling me they have well water and it's safe. And I'm like, it's not safe. They just somehow they don't have a belief system that their groundwater is not safe for them. Help them understand why it's not safe.
Yeah. If this was 1926, yeah, no doubt. It's just God made the water filtration system so we could drink groundwater. But it's not like that now. Everything's been sprayed with glyphosate for a long, long time. And that is, everything we do leaches into the groundwater. I want you to think about all of the fluoride that's being used in our drinking water in most counties. You're getting this fluoride, which is actually good for you if you can get a natural source through food and so on, but you're not getting that. You're getting heavy metal toxicity, and it acts just like aluminum in the brain and is a major contributor to Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. So we are just inundated with this stuff. And then when you are eating food that is toxic, like for instance, all the wheat. GMO. It's all GMO. I don't care if the little tag on it says non-GMO. That is just that's a game. Okay.
They just did a test on it, and I sent you the graphic. So Dave's Killer Bread, which is organic, came back loaded with glyphosate, right?
Yes. It's in they've put it into because all your wheat now is laboratory wheat.
Mhm.
So a lot of it has the GMO, or not GMO, but glyphosate in it to keep the weeds from eating it. Now, if weeds won't eat it, why in the world should we? I mean, think
Right?
about it just for a second. But we're so loaded with toxins, heavy metals, Lyme disease from ticks, just all these different things. And what I think the most important thing is about detox is we need to find out first, is your body ready for it?
I agree.
And, in other words, if I get you and I say, oh, look, they've got the ADD miasm, I'm going to detox that. Oh, and we also see that there's Epstein-Barr, we're going to detox that. Man, we can put you on the sick bed and make you really hate life like that. So I got to look at if your body is ready. So sometimes the first test, maybe even 2 tests, we might need to get some emotional blocks out of the way. We might need to just go ahead, jump in and get some L-glutamine going to lay you down a new layer in your gut so you can actually start absorbing micro instead of macro, that the body sees as an invader because it's too big and it's in the bloodstream from a leaky gut. So we'd have to look at all that. And then when you're ready to detox, we detox. And me personally, there's several ways. The best way to detox is just to get rid of whatever it is. So like Jodi said, shower head, you're going to get chlorine gas every time you take a shower. And there's more than that, but chlorine gas. Let's think about that just for a second.
That one alone, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that there's in Georgia 103 contaminants in the water supply, and so I reference it, and forgive anybody if I'm shocking anybody, but to the Holocaust gas chambers. It's just a slower,
in a slower way.
slower. But
So what now? We hear all this stuff, and I'm not here to burst any balloons. I'm not here to challenge anyone, but we hear all this trouble with cholesterol and how it causes heart disease and this and that. Okay, now please look that up. Don't just take something because somebody says it. Don't take it because I say it. Okay, Look it up, study it. But chlorine gas destroys and scratches and cracks open the arterial walls in your blood system. So now cholesterol has to run there to try to lube it up and heal it. That's what that cholesterol does. Okay. But we say, oh, it's cholesterol, it's heart disease and everything. Well, take a look at your shower, and I've had a new shower head for years, and we change it out whenever it's recommended, those kind of things. So just toxins are everywhere.
Mhm.
And so remove the thing that's there. That's the easiest way. Some people say, well, I'm allergic to cheese. This is deep and profound. Here it comes from major studies. Here we go. Ready? All the colleges agree. Stop eating it.
Right.
We may get it fixed. There's no doubt. I don't live with that. I don't live with someone, well, I'm allergic to food. You're not allergic to food. You got a leaky gut. There's something going on in your body that makes that food inflammatory to you. Some foods are inflammatory, like refined sugar. Just leave it alone. But we try to fix all that through the body, and we will start to detox by homeopathy. That's a good way. Homeopathy, if you don't understand what that is, it's basically vibrational medicine is what it is.
Not sure if you ever saw this article on brain allergies and how sensitivities to food and other substances can affect the mind. I found this back in 2016, just giving evidence to what you're saying. So, but carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. People forget that we're not, I mean, even in Christian churches, people like to divide us up in three parts: mind, body, soul. And as true as that is, it's all one. You get rid of one, the others are dead. Okay,
Mhm.
so um, we're one. Your soul is in virtually every cell of your body. It's not just sitting like right here, a little guy with controls or anything. It's all over you, and
Mhm.
your energy. So what homeopathy does is it gets right into your cells and causes a vibration. All right. So backing up just a little bit, homeopathy means like cures like. So for instance, if I have a tuberculosis, I can take a little bit of that tuberculosis and put it in with a little bit of alcohol and some water and succuss it like
Mhm.
this. Probably
Right.
saw your mom's or grandma's doing that
Mhm.
because all the medicine was homeopathy. So there it is. And what it is, those electrons get charged and it creates a frequency for tuberculosis that when you put those under your tongue, those drops, within about 10 minutes, it's in every cell in your body. And it's vibrating at a level that just totally ticks off tuberculosis, and it
Right.
makes it stick its head up. That that's all homeopathy does. We have a thing down south we call fiddling for worms. So you're going to go fishing, you get down by the creek, there's a stump there, and you grab a concrete block out of your back of your truck, and you rub it on that stump. It vibrates, and you start looking around the roots because here come your worms. Here's your bait. They can't stand it. They have to come up,
Right.
and that's how homeopathy works. So we
That's how
do
all
that.
the world works, right? The whole world is a
Yes,
vibration, right? Choose your
yes, and
vibration.
so the homeopathy is not even curing you. It's just sending a vibration, and your immune system is taking care of the rest.
So
Uh,
thank you for saying that because we're not here to give cures, but we are here to allow your body to do what it does naturally by providing it the right frequency, if you will, or vibration. You know, Yafa has a question. She says, is it vital to do lymphatic drainage while doing a detox? And I'll let you answer that. I know the answer, but yeah.
the answer is absolutely yes.
Hmm.
Now, here's the thing, though. When I do testing, I'm always looking at the whole person. Not everybody's lymphatics are in need of a radical modality, okay, or radical's a strong modality. Not everyone is like that. I'm not here to sell modalities, and lymphatic therapy is one of my favorite ones I do. But I can check, and if your body can manage its lymph while we're detoxifying, because it'll tell me, the test will tell me. There's virtually nothing that is kept from me in a test. Then what I will do is find a way that if you need lymphatic support, I will absolutely provide that because it's so vital. That is that's your septic system for your body. You know, it's got to go, it's got to move. So excellent question. And yes, definitely, but not everyone would need, say, assisted lymphatic therapy.
Right. So, like
That
on
makes
this sample test, the lymph was balanced, right?
Yep,
So, so
yep.
right.
But
So,
still, even with that, I will tell you this, and boy, I'm glad you showed me that, Jodi.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and to answer this question even better, anytime I use a homeopathic detoxifier, I am also going to include with it, just because it's common sense and it's good practice. And if there's any naturopaths out here that don't do that, if you add this to your protocols, you will see a huge change. Okay. And that is, let's say I've got to give someone for Epstein-Barr, I'm going to give them that homeopathic.
Right.
I also need to find what herbal drainer needs to go with that. Like, for instance, I have an herbal drainer here in front of me, It's called a Penicillin Plus from Standard Enzyme Company. And this does a lot more. I mean, it's a blood purifier. It does all kind of things. But the bottom line is with drainage, with herbs, that's their biggest thing they do is they get things going through your kidney, liver, spleen, lymph, the glymph, the juice in your brain that has to go. So I'll use herbals for that. Think about India. Those people live a long time in a mud hole pretty much compared to what we're used to.
I know.
We're the ones walking around fat with disease and on 15 medicines. And it's because of the herbals. So anytime we detox you, we are going to drain you as well, if that makes sense.
Anybody have a question about that? Makes complete sense to me. And I posted in our private chat, although it came out kind of combobulated, some of the supplements that we're going to talk about when we get there, just so you know. You know, for me, how I've worked with my clients, in addition to what Sam is saying, is, well, I make it a non-negotiable, first of all. If you're going to work with me, you need to have a shower head that filters out contaminants, and you must have some sort of water filter, and not the one that starts with B and has a RITA in it, because that's only taking four items out of the water. And yet we have, as you know, 103 contaminants. And so there's affordable solutions now. So I just, you know, I just make that a non-negotiable for my clients. If you're going to work with me, here's where you need to start. And the other non-negotiable is no bottled water, because the microplastics are up to 240,000 contaminants. It is a huge contributor to type 2 diabetes, as the studies now show. But you and I both know that the bottled water is doing way more than type 2 diabetes. That was just one study that got everybody's attention, right? And so if you're unwilling to make that minor change, right, then, you know, find yourself another healthcare practitioner, right? So, I love Yafa. First of all, and she also says, thank you, Sam, right? And she says, are any of the homeopathic herbs found in the Bible? Before you answer that question, let me tell you that this woman is pure light. And so I love that she's just like leading us, right? But I'm going to just let you take that. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference here. With the herbs, they're typically not homeopathic. If it's got herbs in it, that means it's substantive. It's not just energy medicine. But yeah, there's herbs all over the Bible. I mean, just when you hear in Jeremiah of the balm of Gilead, balm is made of different herbs. Frankincense, the oil, is in the Bible, and anointing with oil for healing is in the Bible. Mm-hmm. So oils and herbs, and by the way, in the book of Genesis, right after creation, man is set in the garden, and he says, I've given you herbs of the field to eat.
Right.
So that's definitely in there. Now, homeopathy, I don't see it in the Bible. Now, but what I do see in the Bible is what I believe the miasm actually is. Now, understand, I am a historic Baptist pastor. My faith is in Jesus Christ alone, and I use the King James Bible for my spiritual reference. Okay? So if you don't, that's fine, but I do. And twice, I'm going to quote God, and in another time it's referred to. He says this, I will visit the iniquities. Iniquities. What's iniquities? That's not sins. That's low level. I will visit the iniquities of the fathers onto the sons, unto the third and fourth generation. Mm-hmm. So think about that. He's not saying that I'm responsible for my son. My son's a grown man. He's a grandparent now. And I'm not responsible for his sin. He's not responsible for mine. But if I went out and got gonorrhea from living low, well, guess what? He's born with a miasm. That's my belief on that. I don't know anybody that's ever tied those two concepts together except me. So anyway,
Well,
I hope that didn't.
You say that before, so I listened and agreed completely, 100%, right? And and that explains why, because who I was named after, Jodi Suson, my father's father, who I never met. He left the family when when my dad was a child because he had TB and he didn't want to make the rest of the family sick. And so, people, we all have it, we all do. And so the question is do you want to live a life filled with vitality, or do you want to continue to suffer? And I'll let you mull it over for yourselves. And I'd like to, is this a good, I just want to talk a couple minutes about like parasites. And then would you be open to going through some of the lists that we have of the supplements and what they do and why they're important?
Sure. Now, parasites, I'm a little different than a lot of people.
Me too.
I don't believe, I believe in the terrain. I believe the terrain is the issue, the condition of the terrain. I don't believe in a such thing as, and I hope that nobody thinks I'm nuts here, but if you do, I'm sorry. I'll still love you.
We're gonna love you anyway.
So I don't believe that and I know it's never been proven, by the way. It's never been proven that a person can sneeze in another person's face and they catch a cold.
Oh yeah,
that's never been proven.
Possible. Yeah, it's never been.
It's not even possible.
No.
The way they test this stuff is they'll take that virus and they'll put it inject it in somebody's blood.
Right.
Now, who sneezes and says, "Oh, please don't sneeze on my blood"?
Right. Let me just get some blood for you, honey. Right.
Yeah, and that don't even work most of the time. So it has to do with the terrain, and it's those things I was talking about, those root causes: emotion, structure, digestion, and all those things. And let me give you an example. Let's say I take a brand new pot roast that's raw, and I throw it out on the back porch, leave it open, and 3 days later I come back. Well, you're going to smell it before you see it.
Right.
And it's going to have maggots on it. Maggots.
Ew.
Oh, we hate maggots. They're terrible. They're so bad. No, they're not. They're doing the work of cleaning it up. That's their job.
Okay,
it's
that's
like
control, but
Right. But you see what I'm saying? And Western medicine would look at that as, oh, he's got maggots. Let's do something about it. Let's kill the maggots. No. Why don't we get the meat and stop it from oxidizing?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's dead, just bury it.
Right.
That's what happens inside your body when you have high free radicals and you're oxidizing. And all this nutrition is what stops you from oxidizing. You're dying the day you're born. You're oxidizing. Okay. And the only reason
why nutrition is stopping you from oxidizing.
Pardon me?
You said nutrition is stopping you from oxidizing.
It is part of the process.
Okay.
So when we have a high oxidative stress, our process and our terrain is off. And it usually can come from trauma, lack of minerals, lack of nutrition, things like that. So anyway, why doesn't our gut just rot like that? Well, because we have a fresh supply of blood going through it constantly. So anyway, if it's dead, you bury it. If it's not, you feed it. Okay. It's kind of how I look at it. With
Mhm.
parasites, everybody's kind of jumped on this bandwagon of ivermectin, and I don't know where I'm at on that yet.
I'm not a fan.
Here's what I found out, Jodi, and you may agree with this. I don't know.
We'll find out.
I find when something is popular and it's main fare, there's something wrong with it.
That's right, because
That's
people are looking for a quick fix.
yes. And getting see if we get the logs out of your creek, those root causes that I'm talking about, your creek's going to flow. So what happens if you dump a bunch of parasites over here in the creek? They're going to flow, right? So the idea is not to go after parasites. For me, I can help with that. I can help calm it down because parasites leave behind them feces and things like that.
Poop,
And so with homeopathy, we can definitely deal with those things. But my goal as a practitioner is never to just, hey, let's get rid of these parasites. No, it's make the meat where it's not oxidizing anymore.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Inhospitable environment.
Yep. And nutrition does that. Good
right.
nutrition.
And I think I've shared with you my approach. So one, I help people with creating a inhospitable environment for parasites, right? But the other thing is and this is why I don't like how other practitioners work this, they, and you're free to disagree. When we kill off parasites slowly, making that inhospitable environment, they release a toxin into, the gut, into the bloodstream, into the brain. And the person who's going through that will be lethargic. They could have diarrhea, constipation, name it, right? Name a bodily function you don't like, and you've got that now. And I'm, not committed to suffering. I'm committed to, vitality. And so I trained under a really phenomenal doctor in Illinois who showed me how to get rid of parasites like that. Okay. And you still need to create an inhospitable environment so they don't come back. Okay. And two, you need to look at your subconscious mind and your relationships, because parasites do not start on the inside, they start on the outside. Where do you have parasitic relationships that's bringing that type of energy into your world? So I use red light therapy on the gut, on the brain, the intestinal tract, right? And I pair that with rife that has every type of parasite known to man. I use that frequency. And at the same time, I muscle test people to find out which one they can take, either clove, which is my favorite, to kill off the parasites and the eggs, or oregano, or chelated or colloidal silver. Sorry, colloidal silver is what I don't. I use chelated. Or is it now I'm forgetting. It doesn't matter. We don't need the recipe now. So I've got my bottle. I'll read it. And when you pair all those together with a vibration, because I use also vibration in addition to the rife, they're gone in an hour. I still run the frequencies for 7 more hours after that, which, people receive. And then you still have to detox the body gently. But if you adopt the lifestyle that Sam and I have not spoken about yet, but we touched on it, right? To stay away from the wheat and the toxins. And then eventually we'll get to the mindset about that. Your body will self-heal. And I've been doing this protocol. Well, I first learned about it in 2018 or 19. So I've been doing this for a long time, and it works. every single time. So, your thoughts? How do you like to? Because there's many ways to roam. So go ahead.
Yeah, I don't typically go that fast, Adam, but if you're not having any bad detox reactions, then I say, hey,
Well, let me
fly
address.
on.
They don't actually have time to release the toxin in that environment. And that's why I do it. Because what I discovered with hundreds of people, right, is we kill it off so quickly that they don't have time to release all those toxins. They do suffer. People suffer for about 5 to 10 minutes. They typically feel this excitatory energy in the prefrontal cortex and in the gut. And after about 10 minutes, sometimes 12, it's gone. The excitatory. So now they're dying off. They can't release toxins. And I've witnessed this time and time and time again. So it's a great question.
Nice.
You asked that. Yeah. So anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't know how you could. Pretty strong.
Well, I mean, it's the man I trained under was beyond brilliant, and he was part of the equation of what saved my life, because I had parasites more than once. And I got those parasites back because I was allowing people to bleed me and not feed me. Right? Do you want to talk about the mindset on that and how you help people with that?
Wow, that gets into basically the Mace Energy method.
It does. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me just give the shortened version. The best thing you can do is go to causisminstitute.org.
Mm-hmm.
Causism, the doctrine of a person becoming the cause in their life instead of always being the effect in their life. That's what that means. And it's the Mace Energy method that works that out. So everybody has identities. Like, for instance, Jodi and I are both on here. You say, oh, you're Sam, you're Jodi. Not really. You don't see us. You don't see us. You don't see the real us. You see our identities. So look, Jodi's got Rev on the front of that's an identity.
Mm-hmm.
I like green. That's an identity. I'm a grandparent, great grandparent, as a matter of fact. Identity. A natural practitioner. Identity.
Uh-huh.
We create these for our survival, and it makes us not who we are. You can't improve on who you are. It makes you where you feel best surviving while on this plane. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, we can also develop negative identities. See, these are all positive, I just mentioned, and it's the way you drive, the way you tie your shoes, the way you do math, everything. Well, negative identities come from going through a trauma, shock, or some upsetting incident and resisting the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people will say, well, we don't resist feelings. Were you raised in the 70s? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You weren't allowed to hurt. You raised yourself, man.
Right.
These days, we're always going to funerals these days, and some guy's wife died after a long battle of cancer, been married 40 years, and he loves her more now just by accident than he ever loved her his whole life. And then she dies, and everybody walks by, and he goes, yeah, it's okay. We expected it coming. And he's back to work as soon as he can get there. He's not letting himself feel. That's just an example. So we create negative identities by doing that. That's a negative energy. Here comes your emotion. Here comes you going against it. See the self-conflict there?
Totally.
Once you create a negative identity, you will fall into it every time you feel yourself getting out of control. Like if there's a relationship that you hear their name and you feel I'd like to smack that guy one. whatever. Maybe it's your relationship to a food or an addiction or body issues. It's endless. So what Mace Energy Method does is we help you to isolate those negative identities. We don't take you through any counseling. We don't take you through any reliving the past. You don't have to tell me anything or any practitioner what your life is. We help you put your attention right on that identity, because you can do that. And we help you discreate it simply by letting yourself experience in it and understanding it. I get 1 out of 50 that cries, because everything's safe. It's your feeling. And that's how we do that. That takes care of mindsets that are opposed to you, because the identity's gone and now you're in control, not that negative mindset.
So thank you for that. So now let's go back to the vital test, shall we? Should we dance? Right?
Sure.
The vital test tells us what? The emotion that's driving the dysfunction. You want to talk about that and why?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. 99.9 times out of 100, the first thing that comes up on the vital is mental and emotional stress. We're all in it at some level.
Yep.
And we don't think it's important. Well, the vital thinks it's important. It's the first thing. Yep. I mean, I have people that are stage 4 cancer when they come to me, and I find the cancer, but the first thing that showed up was mental and emotional stress. And when you go in there in the vital and it comes up, mental and emotional stress, there's a negative panel list with tons of negative emotions. And there's a positive panel with tons of positive emotions. And we can go through there and just sort it all out. It sorts it out for us. Which emotions are hurting you the most? What's the biggies? What's going on in your life? And it's really funny how people, they, not me, I was never abandoned. And then you find out they were adopted. Yeah. So, well, yeah, you were. Maybe not on purpose, but you were, and we don't argue that. Do you have okay, there we go. Let's look at that.
I'll see if I can make it bigger. But yeah.
This is one of my new tests I did for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, sorry, I've got a lot more details back in because I got a new laptop and I had to reprogram it all. So sorry about that. But okay. Notice this, pleasurable. Pleasurable. This person is not getting pleasure. And I hate to say it, but there's no name on here, is there?
No, it's a sample test.
Okay. Look at this. When you get going down, the body systems is the problem. And look, it's right there on the clitoris.
Right.
Look at this.
Right.
There's something going on there that is emotionally making her not able to have pleasure, sexual pleasure, obviously.
Right.
So you can see there's a lot going on in the female area there. Okay, so now we see those two tie together. And you know what? It could be the emotion that created the problem, which most of the time that's the case, or it can be the problem that created the emotion. Either way, we take care of both in our testing. We find it, and using different methods, get rid of those negative identities, those things, those people call them things like energetic parasites, trapped emotions, whatever you want to call them. They are simply identities that we fall into. Kind of like, every time my wife rolls her eyes at me, it's not that way now. I've had Mace. But before I'd be like, What are you rolling your eyes at? You know, bam, here I come. I mean, I may not throw things or scream, but it's a negative identity I developed, you see. And it's gone now. She rolls her eyes now. I get kind of tickled at it. So,
well, and here's the thing, you know, we also have on this test, like, you know, the will to live, right? And if we are not, we need to look at emotions, right? And I'm just going to go down a little rabbit hole. We have spent a lifetime, multiple lifetimes, dismissing how people feel, that there's a stigma about your brain and how you feel, and you should quash your feelings. And I'm just going to say that's spiritual warfare, okay? Because when somebody knew that our emotions dictate the future outcome and decided to poo-poo people feeling their feelings. And yet it's critically the most important thing you can ever do. And so let's stop minimizing people's feelings, hold space for them to do, you know, process their feelings the way that they need to process their feelings in a safe place. And, you know, Sam does a great job in the MACE energy method. I have seen him. I also offer other methods. We're not here to talk about those today. But what I'm saying is there is also no competition. You see, I believe we just go to who we need at that point in time. And it might be that you see both Sam and I for different things, and or never me or never Sam. It doesn't matter because God's got a plan. So, but if you're not addressing how you feel and you're constantly quashing who you are and your own voice, you're going to hurt yourself. You're hurting your own cells. And so, and that is why I brought the program to my you know, I relaunched my functional food program, which is a full, you know, mind, body, spirit reset. And my program is really, I mean, it's targeted to everyone for people who want real health. But because my whole debacle started at corporate America, where I was dismissed when I fell down and hurt myself on the ice, and they wouldn't even let me go do diagnostics. Now, I say they didn't let me. I was 30 years old. It was 33 years ago, right? And I didn't have a voice and I didn't know how to use it. And I was playing the victim. So I'm not like, you know, I'm just telling you who I was at that point in time. It is not who I am now. And so I asked for diagnostics. I was told no, and I didn't realize that I had the right to choose differently. And what I want to tell you, it's your divine right to always choose for yourself, okay? And so instead of finding out that I had 2 torn rotator cuffs, I was misdiagnosed and put on 8 drugs on the first visit. So they decided that I was bipolar disorder, that I had bipolar disorder, and I had schizophrenia. And I was given 8 drugs so that I would not, and listen to this very carefully, so that I would not be a harm to others. And if you listen to that narrative, you'll maybe be able to piece it to a narrative you heard in 2020. Okay. And so this is your wake-up call, that they've been using the same narrative for a very long time. And you have a divine right to real health. And we are here to provide that. And so I'm bringing this to corporations so that, because we spend most of our time in corporate America, and this, besides the fact that they deserve it, the math equation works. So the average person between the ages, let's say 30 and 50, are taking 4.7 drugs, which is equivalent to $201,000 a year. So this test is $500 for the test and the retest. And the supplements won't even get you to $200,000. You couldn't do that in 10 years. So, you know, nor will the water filter or the red light therapy or anything else. Okay. And so let's say you don't care about your employees. That's fine. Care about your bottom line, because your bottom line speaks. And then you can actually have healthy employees who show up the way you wish them to show up, because they can't present the way you need them because their body and their brain is laden with chemicals that stop the neurotransmitters from sending the signals to every organ, tissue, and cell in the body. And so some of them are on autopilot. Some can't even do that right now. And when they get to that point where they can't even do autopilot, they're going to go on disability. And now the workman's comp is going to cost you an arm and a leg. And I actually have the financials for each category on my spreadsheet. And so if you want to see a spreadsheet and plug in the numbers for your corporation and run those numbers, I got that. Because here's the thing, the model we're presently using doesn't work. It's an old model, it's obsolete, and it's time to take on a new you. It's time to support your bottom line. It's time to support your employees, which is really where my heart is at. But really, you know, successful entrepreneurs, they take care of their people, right? Because people are first all day long. But if you're the icky employer that only wants the bottom line, I'll talk to you too. I'll talk to you too. I'll show you the numbers. No matter what, whether you like your employees or not, it still works. Anything you want to add to that, Sam?
Whether you like your employees or not, whoa. Just kidding.
No,
My employees are my family right now, so well, I hate them all. So we're good. We get along just great.
Well, yeah,
just fine.
Right. But I mean, like, I've been with organizations. Now, keep in mind, I work for mega corporations. Okay. Huge corporations. And we were numbers to them. Right. Now, and I also don't think that that's my first client. Like, it's not going to be my go-to. But we are bringing on companies right now. We're in talks. So if you want to be part of the pilot, where we pilot this program for you, you can see the business to consumer program that is published, which I'll put in the thread here. And it is slightly different for the employee, or for the employee model, because the employee model has not only the online version and the employee starter kit, but or toolkit, right? But it also comes with the place of peace, which is a multimodal approach for a corporate wellness room, where you are going to encourage your employees to go take a 15 to 20 minute brain fitness break, or pause, not a break. I've had that break issue. Don't ever say the word break, because you get one. And I broke my wrist in 4 places the last time I said that. So I'm practicing still years later not to say that word. But the point is to invest in your employees, give them time. Don't be resentful if they're taking 15 to 20 minutes to pause and, you know, recalibrate, and because they'll come back energized, focused, and raring to go. I'm trying to think and the program comes with all the tools. It comes with this testing. It comes with the red light torch. It comes with the conscious flow, increases blood flow. It comes with upgrade. It comes with the brain tap, right? I mean, look, I'm going to tell you, God told me not to play small. He says, give them everything they need to get them to where they need to go. Failure will not be an option. So, do you want to, Sam, share about some of the homeopathic supplements and what they're connected to in terms of the emotion? I did put them in the chat. I'm going to let you kind of run with that. And then I'll put the link to the functional food program in the chat as well. But yours is
Okay.
by the way. Yeah.
Well, there's lots of things that we can use, and this is just it's a small list compared to what you can use. But let me say, with stress, emotions, anxiety, autonomic nervous system being off, why we like to deal with root causes for things, and we'll see a lot of times the emotions will clear up. However, let's be honest, if you're in high anxiety, you're not going to be able to heal. Let's just make it clear. You can't heal while you're in either sympathetic dominant, where you're always fight or flight, or if what we call dorsal parasympathetic. In other words, you're so back, you're no longer rest and digest. Now you're in complete depression.
Right.
We can't heal like that. You can't heal like that. So part of our protocol is addressing emotions while healing. Again, the Mace energy method, unless you're like a real tiny child or something, we have ways to work with that. We work with people's emotions. We want to get them fixed permanently, where you are you, and there's no more of this identities going around and you're wondering where you messed up and how your life is. But until we get to that, and sometimes we can't because somebody thinks it's woo-woo or something, so they won't do it. And I get it, whatever.
And
so
the
we'll find ways to support you.
Program belief systems, right? I mean, it's just a belief system that was programmed. So, step out of your current reality and look at this. Yeah, go ahead.
And then look at the testimonies. That's where it's at. But anyway, in my practice, I was talking about doing herbs and homeopathy. We use a lot of that, and even vitamins and other nutrition to support emotional wellness, to get you out of the stress level, to heal. But I do not in any way want that person taking this product for the rest of their life.
Thank you.
It doesn't, I mean, why not just do medicine if that's the case? Why not just go take an aspirin for your headache, 3 times a day, rather than get some minerals and change your life, get some sunshine. So a few of these that are out there, Jodi's mentioned a few of these to me that she really likes, and then there's some that I fall toward that I really like as well. But it all comes to what the test says. So, for instance, remember I was telling you about the herbal drainers. I have this one here, Appeasalin Plus. Well, there's an herbal drainer called Clear Mind. Clear Mind. So it works as a drainer. Already we know if I'm going to detoxify you, I've got a drainer there. But if the Clear Mind is what would work for you to stay more calm while you're healing, then that's what the test would recommend. And it promotes brain chemistry. That's what it promotes. It makes your brain alive again, and it's an antidepressant. It changes your moods, and it even stimulates the immune system and Alzheimer's. Before I do tests, I like to take a big dropper full of Clear Mind. The next one is called Kava Calm, and I think we all know about kava and how it's used, but Kava Calm comes from the roots of kava. And it's great for any stress, anxiety, restlessness, nervousness, treats sleeping problems, insomnia. And it's also used, if it comes up on your test, that is, everybody's different. Every test is different, for ADD, ADHD, depression, and mood swings. So I love Kava Calm. Some people can't take it because food allergies. Fix the gut, then they can. But anyway, let's talk about some homeopathics now. There's one that comes up a whole lot in our testing, and it's anti-stress. And it's a homeopathic preparation that just deals generally with stress. Okay. When I was leaving my old job and coming over to start my business, I did not have a bucket. Well, the bucket to the window. I didn't have a thing. and didn't know what we were going to do and so on. And I had an employer that was accusing me of things. He didn't want me to go. And I offered to stay, but then no, and that's the way it is in healthcare, by the way. That's the way it is. You give your notice in healthcare. If it's longer than 2 weeks, nah, you can just go. You don't want to be here. We don't want you. That's the way that works. So that's what they did to me. And someone came up to me and they said, Sam, this man is walking behind you saying that you're stealing from him. Yeah. I had to loan him money to get his business going. But anyway, I'm stealing from him and all this other stuff. Why are you so calm? Anti-stress.
Mm-hmm.
Anti-stress. I love it. Call me, we'll send you a bottle. Another one that Jodi likes mentioned was the ADD, ADHD miasm. Remember, that's the hyperactive miasm. So sometimes that'll take care of some kids' hyperactivity. You know, a lot of things come into hyperactivity. Remember, I said that if there's a toxin involved, you have to stop. You have to get the toxin out of your life. And I found one kid became uncontrollable simply over, get this, Chick-fil-A honey mustard seasoning dressing. That yellow number 5 in that bag.
Well, I just heard that. I'm like, it's yellow number 5, hyperactivity.
Sent that, and this is 2012. We didn't even know that. So we researched, why is this kid out of control? I used to run a teen home where we'd try to get the parents and the teens back together, and I had the benefit of helping almost 1,000 families that way. And she was so out of control. And, well, we got to stop whatever's making them hyper. But ADD, ADHD would work for that. There's one called MB Builder that is also an herbal drainer. Okay. But it is loaded with B vitamins and iron and minerals. And what it does, MB means mind body builder. So it builds your muscle tissue and tones and increases your mental alertness, resulting in better moods. So, I mean, I can keep going. We got you covered here.
Well, can you talk about the one, the IRIE, IRIE?
Yes. IRIE was developed by Jim Hoover's son, as a matter of fact. And it is a homeopathic combination, and it includes anti-stress in it, I believe, but it has all these flowers.
Right.
Do you all know about Bach flower remedies?
Yeah,
Oh,
so I get my Bach flower remedies, and like not everybody has a Tesla machine, so they're actually I've got the frequency for that. So I've been using Bach flowers for probably 7 years, but I don't take it internally. But you know, there's more than one way to receive it, and this is a great way. So why don't you go ahead and share about the Bach flowers?
Bach flowers are basically, you know how essential oils are created by the process of extracting those and distilling those oils out of, you know, whatever, oregano, whatever you're going to have, frankincense. Well, there's water left over. And that water is energized with the essence of the flower.
Right.
So you can drink that water. It's good for you. Rose water is good for you. But when you take that and you put it into homeopathy, you take a little bit of alcohol, you take water, you succuss it, and you take a little bit of that out, water, alcohol, succuss it. And every time you do that, it gets stronger. Well, you put that under your tongue, and it hits every cell in your body in about 10 minutes through your bloodstream. And these flowers are amazing. Like, let me give you some real quick. I think I got one here.
And then I want to hear about that under the tongue in a second when you're done. Yeah.
Okay. Star of Bethlehem. Grief, trauma, and loss. It specifically deals with that mental and emotional effect during a trauma and after. A special flower.
Yeah.
I think about, let's see, there's one called Fear. Okay, fear.
No. I get to tell this one. Okay, I get to tell this one about fear. Sorry. So we're all fear-based on some level until we choose to release it, right? And so I had the tincture for fear from Standard Enzyme. And apparently God wanted me to really release all my fear because I put in way too much. I put the whole, I dumped it into my tea. And I did have a little bit of a breakdown, but I really don't operate with fear anymore either. I'm just going to say, but you can tell the scientific story. Go ahead.
Well, fear is basically for those that have vague, unexplainable fears, of unknown origin, feelings of impending doom or for themselves or even their loved ones. So that's an excellent one for that. We have another homeopathic called despondency and despair. Just like it says, for those that feel like there's absolutely no hope for their present situation, all's lost. They've fallen in a well, can't get out, nobody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's for that. Honeysuckle. Now, this kind of tickles me because when these flowers come up for people, it shows their personality a little bit.
Okay,
so when you put that on a test, sometimes people become a little defensive. I'm not that way. And then you'll see their husband look over and go, yes, they are. Or wife, either one. But this one is called honeysuckle, and it's for those that dwell in the past. We all know people like that. They can't, it's all about the good old days. Well, that is so hurtful. The food you eat is today, that what you face is today, So that helps with that. Red chestnut, when you feel doom for someone you care for.
For someone you care for.
Someone you care for. So if I'm taking care, like I had the pleasure of taking care of my dad. He had serious dementia. And that somebody like that, if you're taking care of somebody like that, it's good to have some red chestnut because it'll help you to not get despondent when you see their symptoms get worse. You'll still keep your nose to the grind and do your best. And these all work. If you'd asked me 30 years ago, I'd have said, oh, you're crazy. We have one called...
God that's what we need, though, Sam, right? I mean, God, yeah, I mean...
Absolutely. It's all been given to us. It's all right here. Mm-hmm. Uniflower is for extreme panic, shock, terror, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I forget what company has it. It's called Rescue Remedy. Same principle. Okay. But I think Uniflower is even better. Mimulus.
Wait, can we pause for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
Uniflower for panic attacks, right? Basically is what you're saying. Okay, addiction community, listen up, okay? People are having panic attacks. You don't need to give them a shot of some crappy chemical. Now you have a solution, okay? Go ahead.
If it's an interior panic attack, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? My heart's fluttering in it. I would recommend the Irie.
Okay.
All day long. But if it's panic from, he's drowning, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Because some people live in that for months and months after something happens. And the Uniflower would definitely help them to
release it,
modulate that. Mm-hmm. Mimulus. I love Mimulus when it pops up because it always points to the fear of something known. Like people are afraid of heights or they're afraid of water or whatever. Mm-hmm. Basically phobias. Mimulus does that. Walnut. It will stabilize emotional upsets during transition, such as
moving or changing jobs or going through a divorce.
Yes. Or how about this one? Going through puberty, adolescence, or menopause.
Wow.
Okay. Lithiplex is another one. That's more of a compound, but it will basically deal with the symptoms of depression and anxiety. And it has a homeopathic of lithium carbonate in it. You're not actually taking lithium, because we know lithium is actually a natural occurring salt, but it can work like a heavy metal in that you get too much of it. But we're not worried about that, because some people will take lithium and it calms them down. Doctors will prescribe it, or psychiatrists and so on. But I'm telling you, this is not actual lithium. This is the essence of it. It's the homeopathic.
The essence, it's the succussed version of it, which means it has the vibration.
Yep. It doesn't have any essence in it.
People right now.
Yep. And by the way, Lithiplex is also great for inflammation in your joints and for gout. You want to get depressed? Get gout. That'll depress you.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
All right.
So
and then of course,
go ahead.
Go ahead, dear.
No. I'm looking at our list. Did you want to do alpha lipoic acid?
Yes. Alpha lipoic acid. There are people that are on gabapentin. Okay. Again, we can't tell you to not do what your doctor says. That's not what we're here for. But medical doctors are awakening. By the way, did you know it takes an average of 17 years? 17 years, okay, for a doctor to read it, get to him through the literature and the journals once the discovery's been made.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you discover something and go, hey guys, we realize cholesterol is not the problem. Dr. So-and-so is probably not going to know that for on an average of 17 years.
Wow.
So just know that. Well, people are taking this gabapentin, and GABA itself is a wonderful thing. Let me give you some things about GABA real quick, if you don't mind.
Oh no, go ahead, and then I'll talk about gabapentin. Yeah.
Okay, good. It's an amino acid, but it's a weird amino acid in that it's not protein. Amino acids are the building blocks of life. Protein. This is not protein, but it still functions as a neurotransmitter that communicates between the firing in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people, when you have GABA on board, gamma aminobutyric acid, it really helps with people that have a high degree of irritability.
Mm-hmm.
It just calms you down. And it also, GABA works on hypertension, high blood pressure.
Yes, it does.
So GABA is a good thing. It's gabapentin that I would want you to substitute 600 milligrams of alpha lipoic acid. You'll never need gabapentin again. Go ahead, dearest.
So when I was getting off of the 50 drugs, I, still was symptomatic with all over body pain and a lot of hyperactivity and stress and blood pressure issues. And so they put me on gabapentin. And I'm like, okay, you just took me off of 50 drugs. Now you're putting me on another one. I think we're going in the wrong way. Right. And so I started using GABA, the real stuff, right away instead. I think I was on gabapentin for a week. And the thing is that, and I'm not saying gabapentin falls into this, but I would not be surprised. Okay. These drugs that originally came from nature, right? They took the element from nature and they paired it with a chemical, petroleum-based typically, and then fed it to you at a higher price so they could patent it, right? They had to patent it so they could sell it to you at a higher price, excuse me. And so I study with a really great company out of Florida. They do a lot of testing, blood testing. I used to do more blood testing. I don't really do blood testing now. I do this, but they have really great information. And one of the things that they shared, and I have all the science to back it, is most of these drugs are causing Alzheimer's and dementia. Okay, they're the precursor. So the more drugs you take, the more chance you have of having dementia and Alzheimer's. And it's no surprise if you go research it that Alzheimer's and dementia is on the rise because we're not treating our body as a temple. And so you know, there are ways to get to everything without a drug. And so the options that Sam and I are offering you are much better, in our opinion, than the synthetic version. And one other reason why, besides if dementia and Alzheimer's is not enough of a reason for you to make a change, I will tell you that these chemicals get stored in your fat cells to protect your vital organs. And then they sit there. So until you find a safe way to remove them. And I do have a product that I want to talk about that is not through standard enzyme, but when we're done with that list, because it gets rid of the forever chemicals, the Kenzyme, you know, that, yeah. So that is by Optimal Health Systems. And it's the first patented product that proves that it removes forever chemicals from our body using plant enzymes. And one of them is called like a phthalate enzyme or phalzyme or something. I don't remember. I'm not the scientist. I mean, I am a scientist, but not as good as others. You know? But, you know, what I want to tell you is if you've been that person who has, like me, who has taken a bunch of drugs and fell prey to, you know, let's say the programming, there's always a solution to handle what's happened in your past. So we have some other ones to go over. Do you want to talk about N-acetylcysteine, or should I?
Well, I could say a few things about it because I love NAC, as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that it does the most is it boosts glutathione.
Yeah.
It's a precursor to your liver making glutathione your most, not your biggest antioxidant, but your most powerful antioxidant that your body makes. Well, and so what happens with NAC, it increases the brain's primary defense against oxidative stress, protecting those neurons. You know, the neurons, they have to fire in between. That's what I meant to say earlier was neurons. And my neurons weren't working, I guess. But
the noise.
so oxidative.
What was
oxidative
the?
Yeah, the neurotransmitters firing. Mine were not, I guess. I was going, what do they call? Anyway, it modulates glutamate, okay? Mm-hmm. Glutamate is the brain's main excitatory neurotransmitter, which is linked to anxiety and mood disorders. Yeah. So think about that. It reduces neuroinflammation. It's an anti-inflammatory that helps calm brain inflammation. And that is a huge factor in depression and even cognitive issues. Mm-hmm. And it supports mood regulation by addressing the oxidative stress, the glutamate imbalance, and the inflammation in your brain. So it has a real potential, I understand, for anxiety and also OCD. So NAC has shown promise in reducing the severity of the obsessions and compulsions and other related disorders.
Which Dr. Daniel Amen of Amen Clinics, who I trained under, says it's also used for addictions, which is obsessions, right? Right.
Absolutely.
So, and when we were being exposed to in the pandemic, you know, there are two ways that I supported my body. Well, multitude, but the two that I'm going to talk to relative to NAC, and again, this show is for entertainment purposes only, I would drink water if I was exposed to somebody who I thought, could get, which we already know the terrain theory, but, back then, if I thought I was exposed to a virus, I would drink water to get that virus into my stomach, because the stomach acids would just kill it, right? And the other thing I did was I took N-acetylcysteine, because it also works on that as well. And so I always keep a supply of it. They tried to ban it because it works. They tried to ban an amino acid. I mean, really. Just let that sit in with you for a minute. The government tried to ban an amino acid. So it works. Okay, there we go. Is there any other, because I know that this was supposed to be a longer, and, I'm going to do clips of this so that people can watch it full, but also, catch clips. Is there anything else that we need to go over on our list?
I don't think so. I mean, there's a couple of things we can point out. For instance, gallic acid, it is a huge antioxidant, and it helps, it protects, your, it's a neuroprotective, but it's so good for sugar cravings.
Oh, which one is this called again?
Gallic acid.
Gallic
Gallic acid.
Interesting. So you know what I use for sugar cravings? And I'm wondering if it's part of the equation. I use cinnamon essential oil. So I'm wondering if it's in there. Is gallic acid in cinnamon at all?
I think it's in bark. So it may be in cinnamon bark, but I'm not absolutely sure about that. I'm sorry.
I'm checking it right now. Yeah. So combining cinnamon. Oh, no, they're saying combine cinnamon essential oil with gallic acid and natural polyphenol creates an effective natural antioxidant and antimicrobial and anti-complexes mixtures. But I don't know that if it contains, contains gallic acid, and that's what I'm trying to determine. It does not contain a significant amount of gallic acid, but you're right. The small amount is, I believe, in the bark. I'm not going to. I need to do more research on that. But basically, there's many ways to roam. Let's put it that way. Because I've had sugar cravings. I'll just do that. So real quick before we end, I want to just present real quick the functional food program. It is beyond exciting to me to be able to offer this again. And this is the program that I created that saved my life. And it's endorsed by Dr. Patrick Porter and Jeremy Freeman of Freeman Formula that we've talked about. We've got multiple practitioners. Actually, I just didn't have room to put them all on here. Sam is one of the practitioners that's on the main page. This is just a small page of ours. And basically, I am reframing mental health for the world, backed by world leaders in neuroscience, natural health, biochemistry, psychology, naturopathic doctors, addiction counselors, and more. And, that this program, both for individuals and corporations, comes with coaching, the testing that we've been talking about in spiritual and mental wellness. And we have tons of people who have given testimonials to what this has done for them. And it is approved for your flexible savings account and health savings account. Of course, you can also use credit cards. And this is what's really cool. All these tools come with your kit, and it comes with the Kenzyme. It comes with the BFF, which we spoke about earlier, essential oils for emotional regulation, toothpaste, which is a game changer because gut health really starts in your mouth, and the shower head, water filters, EMF neutralizers, red light, right frequencies, the books that I wrote, silver, Digestamil, And you can't lose, okay? And we describe everything in detail and how it impacts your well-being. And so I've been teaching this since 2019, and there's lots of ways to finance this program. And we have the frequently asked questions down below. But I'll just, say that if you're not getting what you want out of your life and out of the health in your life, and you've been listening to medical doctors dismiss you and tell you that what you're feeling is not true and you just need to take a pill, I am evidence that pills don't work. And I'm also evidence that plants do. And you have the divine right to have complete sovereignty over your mental, spiritual, and physical body, and you can take it now. And that's all I have to say.
Enough said.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I'm very I'm at a point where it's kind of like a no excuses mentality, right? So people who really want to have sovereignty, this is the time to do it, and this is the program that'll help you. You get Sam, right? Because Sam's doing the testing. Okay, you get the brain tap products, and if it's a corporation, we're doing testing with the neural check and vital test. You can't lose, guys. And I don't have any of the standard enzyme products in there because it's just too custom. And so we do have the foundational products in there. And so based upon your test, we'll get you the right standard enzyme products that will help you on your way. Anything you want to add to that?
No.
Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you. We have spent a great amount of time helping people understand that they have options outside of their current reality. I'm beyond grateful that you and I met several years ago. For those that don't know, Sam Morris, he's in Tennessee, and we met at a conference in Georgia. I see energy before I see anything else. And he has a heart and a soul that's aligned with Jesus. And I saw that. And so I aligned with him. He's brilliant and humble, which is important to be both, right? And when he doesn't know, he'll say he doesn't know. And, if he's not your person, he'll say he's not your person. If I'm not your person, I'll say I'm not your person. But he is part of the team that we are bringing to corporate America. So reach out now. Boom. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for having me. God bless all y'all.
Thank you. I will end the stream. And